He was just a normal boy, living an ordinary life in a small quiet town where nothing unusual ever happened. At least that's what everyone believed. But Ion was different. Not in a way people could easily notice, but in a way that made the world around him feel strange, as if reality itself behaved differently when he was near. Ever since he was a child, his parents noticed things they couldn't explain. He never cried like other babies. He would just stare into empty space for hours as if he was listening to something far beyond human understanding. As he grew older, these strange behaviors only became more intense. Sometimes he would respond to questions no one had asked. Sometimes he would speak in words that didn't belong to any known language. His parents thought maybe it was just a phase, maybe imagination, but deep down they were afraid, because they knew this was something else, something unnatural, something they couldn't control. And then one night, everything changed. Ion woke up suddenly, his eyes wide open, his body completely still, as if something had called him, something invisible yet powerful. He slowly walked toward his window, and what he saw that night would change his life forever. Outside, in the darkness, there was a glow, a soft blue light illuminating the backyard, and standing there was a creature unlike anything seen before, tall, motionless, with eyes that seemed to hold galaxies inside them. Any normal child would scream, would run, would hide, but Ion didn't. Instead, he opened the door and stepped outside, barefoot, calm, almost as if he had been waiting for this moment his entire life. The cold ground didn't bother him. The silence didn't scare him. He walked closer to the creature, and as he did, something impossible happened. The alien slowly lowered its head, bowing. Not in threat, not in fear, but in respect, as if recognizing him, as if acknowledging his presence as something greater, something important. And then Ion spoke, a single word, a sound that didn't belong to Earth, a language unknown to humanity. Yet the creature understood it perfectly. It responded instantly, obeying him without hesitation. From that moment on, nothing was ever the same again. Days passed. But the strange events didn't stop. In fact, they became more frequent, more intense, more impossible to ignore. Lights flickered whenever Ion felt strong emotions. Electronic devices malfunctioned around him. Animals would freeze and stare at him as if they could see something others couldn't. And then, the sightings began, more creatures, more ships, appearing in the skies, not attacking, not invading, just hovering, waiting, watching, as if they were waiting for a signal, waiting for him. The news spread quickly, people were terrified, governments panicked, military forces were deployed. But no matter what they did, the aliens didn't react, they didn't attack, they didn't defend, they simply existed, silently, until Ion appeared. Whenever he stepped outside, the ships would move, align, respond, as if he was controlling them, as if he was their commander. Scientists were called. Experts from all over the world tried to understand what was happening. But no one had answers, until one man came forward, an old scientist who had been silent for decades. He revealed a secret so dangerous, so unbelievable, that it had been buried deep within classified files. Hidden from the world years ago, a secret experiment had taken place, an experiment that crossed the boundaries of science, ethics, and humanity itself. They had discovered alien DNA, not just any DNA, but something advanced, something powerful, something that could change the future of mankind. And they tried to merge it with human genetics. Most subjects didn't survive, their bodies rejected the transformation, but one child adapted, evolved, survived. That child was Ion. His entire existence was not an accident, not a coincidence, but a result of something far greater, something planned, something designed. As this truth came out, the world changed its view of him. He was no longer just a boy. He was a weapon, a threat, a miracle, all at the same time. Governments wanted to control him, to use his power, to command the alien forces through him. While the aliens themselves began to show a different behavior, they didn't just obey him anymore, they protected him, guarded him, as if he was something sacred, something important to their existence. Ion's powers continued to grow. He could now communicate without speaking, control without moving. Entire fleets of alien ships responded to his thoughts, his emotions, his will. But with power came conflict. Humanity feared what they didn't understand. Protests began. People demanded answers. Some called him a savior. Others called him a monster. And in the middle of all this chaos, Ion stood alone, confused, lost, trying to understand who he really was. Was he human? Or was he something else entirely? The military made their move. They tried to capture him, believing they could control his abilities. But they underestimated him. The moment they approached, the sky darkened, ships appeared instantly, surrounding the area, weapons charged, ready to fire. But they didn't attack, they waited for Ion, and Ion raised his hand. In that moment, everything stopped. The soldiers froze, the ships powered down. Silence filled the air, and for the first time, the world realized the truth. He wasn't being controlled by the aliens. The aliens were being controlled by him. Time passed, tension grew, and eventually it became clear a war was coming. Humans were preparing to fight. Aliens were gathering in numbers never seen before, and Ion was the center of it all, the one who could decide the fate of both worlds. If he sided with humans, the aliens would destroy Earth. If he sided with aliens, humanity would fall. The pressure was unbearable, the weight of billions of lives resting on one boy's decision. For the first time in his life, Ion felt fear, real fear, not of the aliens, not of humans, but of himself, of what he might become, of the choice he had to make. And then, in the final moment, when everything seemed lost, when war was about to begin, Ion did something no one expected. He didn't choose humans. He didn't choose aliens. He chose something else, something greater. He stepped forward, raised his hand, and connected with every alien mind at once. A wave of energy spread across the sky, stopping every ship, every weapon, every movement, and then he revealed the truth. The aliens were never invaders. They were observers, watchers, studying humanity, testing whether it was ready to join something bigger, something beyond Earth. And Ion was the key, the bridge between two species, two worlds, two destinies. In that moment, everything changed. The war ended before it even began. The aliens retreated, not in defeat, but in acceptance, and Ion disappeared. No one knows where he went. Some say he left with the aliens. Some say he still lives among us, hidden, watching, waiting for the day humanity is ready to evolve, ready to understand, ready to become something more. And somewhere far beyond the stars, a boy stands, not as a human, not as an alien, but as something greater than both.